good morning from the Galilee. I brought you out here in the field with me today because I'm actually out looking for the pink flax, and I'm not seeing it in the Galilee yet, though it has been seen in other areas of Israel. This field's very special to me. The year that the Father taught me about the flax, this whole hill I'm sitting on was carpeted much more thickly than you see the anemones around you, was carpeted in that beautiful pink color. And I think from the amount of flax plants I see this year that we're going to have that same phenomenon. I think it's going to be a year of quite a bit of flax in the Galilee. If you've not read the article that I wrote about the Galilean flax on Facebook, I encourage you to go read it because for me it's a very significant plant and has a lot of meaning and connection with who our Messiah is. But the real reason I have you out here with me today is because I just want to give you a brief rundown on the 3 different platforms that are used by the different groups on inspecting the barley. This video predominantly is for the new people that approach me every year and they want just like a synopsis. What is it you believe that the other inspectors don't believe? Why is your calendar so much earlier than the other people? So I thought it was good just to bring you out with me today as I'm looking for the flax and explain to you the 3 different platforms that we have of inspectors who are inspecting the land this year. And hopefully you'll be able to use this as a informational video to help you study the Bible and decide for yourself. And that's the biggest thing I encourage you to do is don't depend on other people to tell you what to believe. You study the Bible and you understand what is your criteria. There'll be so much less confusion if you study the scripture and you understand who Messiah is in the feasts and what that means to the calendar. You'll have a much easier time deciding which inspector you should be taking your information from. One group, Divorce Date Tree, they do not believe in Yeshua, so of course we would not expect them to use any methods that would identify who he is in this process. And if I get this wrong, I apologize to Devorah. It's not that I'm trying to get it wrong. My understanding is their criteria for the barley is they want to see enough barley covering the earth to feed a small nation, the way that the barley was when Joshua came across the river into the land that had been promised Jacob. I did some calculations on that, and I was very generous because of our abundant rain, and I gave the barley a yield of 60 bushels per acre. And I took basically 2 million people, of which 600,000 would have been the men of fighting age that Numbers records came into Israel with Joshua. And I did the calculations, and so my understanding, if this is the statement of the group, they're looking for basically 33,000 acres of wild barley on the face of the earth in Israel. So with that criteria, they start the biblical year much, much later than I would. The second group, they're looking for a more mature grain. I'm not sure I understand everything with them, but there's something about the etymological definition that they have found for the word rosh, and something about shaking the head. Plus, they're also looking for a very, very pristine field that they call the Father's field, and they're looking for that field to be evenly ripe. And again, that puts them much later than what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is not only what Moses had to say in the law, but what Yeshua had to say in the New Testament, because I believe as the law made flesh, he really clarified a lot of things for us. Yeshua said that a field represents the world. In the parable of the enemy that sows the tares in the field of wheat, he says that the tares are the children of darkness, or the enemy, and the wheat are the children of light, and that the field represents the world. Then he tells a second parable about the sower. And he talks about some of the seeds fell on the stony path or in the path, and the birds ate it immediately. And he gives these 4 conditions of the different types of soil that were where the sower sowed seed. Then he says that those 4 different conditions represents the hearts of men. So now we have a picture of a field representing the world and the soil representing the hearts of men. So when I'm looking to begin the calendar, I understand that Yeshua, who leads the way back to forgiveness, to relationship with the Father as broken sons and daughters of the living God, that he is that way. He's the gate that we've got to walk through. And so in that field of barley, Yeshua was the firstborn from the dead. He was the first fruits from among men. I am looking from this world for one early ripe quantity that leads the way for the rest of the world back to the Father and in relationship with the Father. So that's why my calendar, when I look at the land, comes out to be quite a bit earlier than the other calendars, is because I recognize Yeshua. It says he is a tender shoot, not barley that is dropping its seeds and dying a natural death. It says, I can't even remember, there was several points here that indicate that in the time, he was cut off from the land of the living, it said. He wasn't cut off from the land of the dying. The field, that it would have been a time of life, and so it wasn't as things were ending in the field. It was just as things were beginning. There's another verse that I think is very pertinent to understanding this thing we call a field, and that's found in the Old Testament, and it talks about that in 3 days, Hosea says, in 2 days he'll revive us, in 3 days we'll live again. It is 2 days at the beginning of every year, after we have had 2 days of soaking rain, that the earliest plant that comes up on the earth, and this isn't it, it's called a mallow plant. And it's at that point I can go around and I can dig up the grains, and I can see that the roots are germinating. So on the 2nd day of rain, the grains have revived. On the 3rd day, all of the little tips of those wild grain plants are poking up above the earth. They've been revived. And Hosea goes on and talks about that we will be like the grain, or it says we'll be like the corn, and the corn is the barley and wheat, and that our fragrance will be like the wine from Lebanon, and that's the next fruit in the 7 species, the 7 first fruits offering. So for me, there's a lot of spiritual understanding that unless we connect it, the spiritual understanding of the land and the words that are written about this land, that we don't quite understand the timing of the Word of God to begin the biblical year. Going back to Exodus 9:31 and 32, we see that the flax and the barley were smitten, and that the wheat and the spelt were not yet grown up. And so Exodus 9:31 and 32 and the parables of Messiah is what brings me to an earlier point to start the calendar than a lot of the other inspectors.
So it's my hope, if you're new to the calendar, that this has helped you sort through some information and understand why that there's so many different reports. Sometimes a couple of the inspectors will have a similar outcome, and other times there can be a different outcome. But maybe this will help you. I hope and pray that this will help you sort through some of the reports and understand why there are so many different starting dates for the biblical calendar.